Introduction. Confidence is not about being the loudest person in the room. It is not about forcing your presence, raising your voice, or trying to dominate every conversation. It has nothing to do with showing off, chasing validation, or constantly proving your value to people who were never meant to understand you. True confidence does not beg for attention, it commands it silently. It lives in the way you walk, the way you pause before you speak, and the way you remain unshaken when others are desperate to be noticed. This kind of confidence doesn't rush, it doesn't compete, it doesn't explain itself. It simply exists, solid, grounded, and undeniable. Real confidence is calm, it is steady. It is the kind of inner strength that does not rise and fall with praise or criticism. It does not depend on external approval or temporary success. It is built slowly through self-respect, discipline, and emotional control. Calm confidence means you trust yourself even when the world doubts you. It means your sense of worth is rooted so deeply within you that no opinion, no rejection, and no setback can reach it. This calmness is not weakness, it is control, and control is power in its purest form. It is the quiet power that makes people stop and notice without you demanding their attention. There is something magnetic about a person who is comfortable in their own silence, someone who doesn't rush to react, someone who doesn't need to fill every moment with noise. That quiet presence carries weight. People feel it before they understand it. And the highest form of confidence is this: when nothing shakes you, nothing provokes you, and nothing controls you. When the world throws chaos at you and you remain centered. When others lose control and you stay grounded. That is mastery. Most people live in reaction mode. They react to criticism, to rejection, to disrespect, to chaos, and to the opinions of others. Every comment pulls them in a different direction. Every setback drains their energy. Every emotional reaction hands their power to someone else. Without realizing it, they allow the world to control how they feel, how they act, and how they see themselves. And with every reaction, a piece of their inner strength is lost. But when you learn to react to nothing, everything changes. You stop leaking energy. You stop being predictable. You stop giving others the power to disturb your peace. You become untouchable, emotionally and mentally. You move through the world with a presence that is rare, composed, and quietly dangerous. Dangerous not because of aggression, but because of self-control. This is the kind of confidence that cannot be copied, faked, or borrowed. It is earned. In this audiobook, we will break down exactly how to build that level of confidence. You will learn how to silence self-doubt before it takes root, how to regulate your emotions instead of being ruled by them, how to detach from outcomes so results no longer define your worth, and how to carry yourself with the authority of someone who needs nothing, chases nothing, and fears nothing. Each chapter will offer practical steps and timeless truths, tools that, when applied, reshape not only how you see yourself, but how the world responds to you. This is not about pretending. This is about becoming. Becoming disciplined, becoming grounded, becoming unshakable. So take a deep breath, let go of distractions, clear your mind, and prepare to step into the strongest, calmest, and most confident version of yourself. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Power of Not Explaining Yourself. Stop explaining yourself. One of the fastest ways people unknowingly drain their confidence is by constantly explaining themselves. Think about how often this happens in daily life. How many times have you caught yourself giving long, unnecessary explanations just so people wouldn't judge you, misunderstand you, or think badly of you? Maybe you were late, and instead of simply saying thank you for waiting, you launched into a 5-minute story about traffic, your alarm, your phone battery, or circumstances beyond your control. Or maybe someone questioned one of your decisions, and suddenly you felt pressure to justify every detail just to feel accepted or understood. Here's the truth. Confident people don't live like that. They don't operate in apology mode. They don't scramble to prove themselves to everyone around them. Why? Because they know something most people forget. Their worth is not up for debate. When you stop explaining yourself unnecessarily, you instantly project strength. Your words become heavier, your silence becomes louder, your presence begins to command respect without effort. People sense that you are grounded, centered, and secure in your choices. Now, this is not about becoming rude, cold, or dismissive. This isn't arrogance. This is awareness. It's knowing when to keep your response short, clear, and firm. Instead of justifying every move you make, you learn to stand by your decisions. When someone asks why you're doing something, you don't owe them a full essay. A simple, confident response is enough. Think about how powerful it feels when someone says, "I chose this because it's right for me," and then stops. No over-explaining, no backpedaling, no softening the message, just calm certainty. That is confidence. Every time you explain yourself unnecessarily, you send a silent message, "I need your approval to feel okay." But every time you keep it brief and allow your decision to stand on its own, you send a much louder message, "I don't need your permission." Here's your challenge for the next week. Catch yourself in the act. The moment you feel the urge to pile on excuses or long explanations, stop. Replace them with something simple, firm, and direct. "I can't make it. I've decided to go this way. That doesn't work for me." And then be silent. Let the silence carry the weight of your confidence. At first it will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will scream at you to fill the space, to justify yourself, to soften your words. But with practice, you'll discover something life-changing. The less you explain, the stronger you feel. People begin to take you more seriously, and most importantly, you begin to take yourself more seriously. Dangerous confidence begins here. Trust your choices. Stand by your words. Because the moment you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone, you've already taken your first step toward becoming untouchable. Chapter 2. Commanding the Voice Within. If you want to become dangerously confident, you must begin with the voice that speaks to you the most, the one inside your own head. That voice is either your greatest weapon or your most destructive enemy. It is constantly shaping how you see yourself, how you act, and how you move through the world. It is either building you up silently or tearing you down when no one else is watching. Most people never realize this. The way you speak to yourself in private eventually becomes the way you show up in public. Think about it. If your inner voice keeps repeating, "I'm not good enough, I always mess things up, people are probably judging me," how do you think you'll walk into a room? Nervous, hesitant, small. But if that same voice says, "I can handle this, I've survived harder moments, I belong here," you walk into the same room differently, taller, calmer, sharper. Same person, different inner dialogue, and that difference changes everything. Confidence doesn't start with applause, achievements, or attention. It starts in your mind. It starts with the words you allow to echo inside your head. You cannot control what everyone says about you, but you can control what you repeat to yourself every single day. The mistake most people make is waiting for life to validate them before changing that inner voice. They think, once I succeed, I'll feel confident. Once people respect me, I'll treat myself better. But it works the other way around. You don't wait for proof, you create it. You begin speaking to yourself like someone worthy of respect, and your actions slowly rise to match that belief. Here's the secret. Your brain believes repetition. Whatever you repeat long enough becomes your truth. Tell yourself you're weak, and you'll slowly shrink into weakness. Tell yourself you're capable, steady, and strong, and you'll rise to meet those words. Your inner voice acts like a thermostat. It sets the temperature of your confidence. If it's low, you'll always sink back down, no matter how much external success you touch. If it's high, you'll rise above challenges because you believe you belong at that level. So how do you master this inner voice? You start by catching it in the act. Pay attention to the quiet sentences you whisper to yourself throughout the day. When you make a mistake, do you say, "I'm so stupid"? Or do you say, "That didn't work, I'll improve next time"? When you look in the mirror, do you focus only on flaws? Or do you remind yourself that you're showing up, growing, and moving forward? These small moments shape everything. This isn't about fake positivity or lying to yourself. Dangerous confidence isn't pretending everything is perfect. It's choosing words that build strength, even when things are hard. Instead of saying, "I can't handle this," you say, "This is difficult, but I'll figure it out." Instead of, "I always fail," you say, "Every setback teaches me something that sharpens me." When you begin directing your inner voice instead of letting it run wild, something powerful happens. You stop reacting so intensely to criticism, rejection, and pressure. Why? Because your mind is already trained to support you. It becomes your strongest ally instead of your harshest critic. Here's your challenge. For the next 30 days, every morning, say these 3 lines out loud. I respect myself. I can handle whatever comes today. I don't need anyone's approval to move forward. It may feel awkward at first, but repeat them daily. Watch how your posture changes. Watch how your energy shifts. Watch how you enter conversations and situations differently. Your inner voice is the foundation of your confidence. Master it, and you won't just look confident, you'll feel it deeply. And once you feel it, no one can take it from you. Because here's the truth. Confidence isn't what happens when others believe in you. Confidence is what happens when you believe in yourself first. And that belief begins with the voice inside your head. Chapter 3. Respect first, power follows. Build respect before confidence. Every kind of lasting confidence begins with one simple truth. You cannot feel powerful if you do not respect yourself first. Respect is the foundation. Without it, confidence is nothing more than an act, a performance you put on for the world, while deep down you remain uncertain and unsure. It becomes a mask, something you wear to convince others, while inside you still question your own worth. But when you build real self-respect, confidence stops being an act. It stops being something you try to project. It becomes part of who you are. Think about how you treat people you truly respect. You listen when they speak. You value their time. You trust their decisions. You don't constantly question their worth. Now ask yourself honestly, do you treat yourself the same way? Or do you cut yourself down with harsh criticism, ignore your needs, and allow people to cross your boundaries because somewhere deep inside you don't see yourself as worthy? Here's the truth most people avoid. The way you treat yourself sets the standard for how the world treats you. If you disrespect your own time, others will too. If you speak poorly to yourself, you will tolerate others speaking to you the same way. But when you begin to show yourself respect, when you hold yourself to a higher standard, people around you feel it, they sense it without you saying a word, and they respond differently. This is where dangerous confidence starts to take shape. Self-respect is not built through big achievements or public wins. It is built through small daily choices that send a clear message to your mind: I matter. Keeping promises you make to yourself, following through when you say you'll do something, refusing to stay in situations that go against your values. Each one of these choices strengthens your inner foundation. When you wake up early because you said you would, that is respect. When you walk away from a toxic conversation instead of chasing approval, that is respect. When you set a boundary and hold it, even when it feels uncomfortable, that is respect. These actions may seem small on the outside, but together they create something powerful on the inside, an unshakable sense that you can trust yourself. And once you trust yourself, confidence no longer needs effort. It flows naturally. Here is the key. Respect yourself first, and the world has no choice but to adjust. You stop begging for recognition. You stop explaining or proving your worth. You know it. And because you know it, others begin to see it. So if you want confidence that lasts, don't start with fake motivation or empty pep talks. Start with respect. Start with how you speak to yourself. Start with the standards you refuse to lower. Confidence without respect is empty, but respect practiced daily will eventually overflow into a level of confidence that cannot be broken. And once you build that, no one can take it from you. Chapter 4. Freedom from approval. Kill the need for approval. One of the biggest traps that silently steals confidence is the constant need for approval. That quiet itch inside that asks, do they like me? Do they agree with me? Am I good enough in their eyes? It may seem harmless, but it controls more lives than people realize. People dress not for themselves, but for reactions. They post not to express, but to be validated. They chase compliments, avoid criticism, and feel crushed when someone doesn't applaud them. Here's the problem. When your confidence depends on approval, it will always be fragile. Approval can be given, and it can be taken away. One moment, people cheer for you. The next moment, they criticize you. And if your self-worth rises and falls with their reactions, you live like a puppet, pulled by strings you don't control. The truth is simple and uncomfortable. No one owes you approval, and no one's opinion should have the power to define you. The moment you kill the need for approval, you free yourself. You stop chasing applause and start living with authenticity. You stop shaping your life around expectations that were never meant for you, and you begin building a life that feels right from the inside. That is where dangerous confidence is born. Think about the people you admire most. Are they the ones who try to please everyone, or the ones who stand firm even when others disagree? It is always the second group. Real strength is not found in being liked by all. It is found in being respected for staying true. Now, understand this clearly. There's nothing wrong with enjoying praise. There's nothing wrong with feeling good when someone appreciates your work. The danger begins when you need it, when your sense of value depends on it. The moment you depend on approval, you hand your power over to others. You give them control over your emotions, and people change their opinions quickly. So, how do you kill the need for approval? You start small. Practice saying no without explaining. Practice making decisions based on what you know is right for you, even if others don't understand. Remind yourself daily, their approval is optional. My self-respect is not.
At first, some people won't like the change. They may call you arrogant, selfish, or stubborn. Stay steady, because over time, those same people often end up respecting you more than they ever did when you were bending for acceptance. People may enjoy it when you seek their approval, but they admire it when you don't need it. Dangerous confidence appears when you walk into a room and stop thinking, "Well, they like me," and instead ask, "Do I respect myself in how I show up here?" That shift changes everything. It takes you out of the role of performer and places you in the role of leader. The world doesn't need another person begging for likes, chasing applause, or waiting for permission. The world respects the person who moves forward without approval, the one who lives as if everything they need already exists inside them. And that can be you. The day you stop chasing approval, you step into a new kind of freedom. You stop reacting to every comment, every look, every criticism. You begin living on your own terms. And that's when people notice, not because you ask them to, but because they cannot ignore someone who doesn't need their validation. That is dangerous confidence.
Chapter 5. From Reaction to Command. Stop reacting. Start leading. Most people live their lives in reaction mode. Something happens and they respond. Someone criticizes them and they immediately defend themselves. Someone disrespects them and they snap back. Someone praises them and suddenly they feel good about themselves. Their emotional state is constantly tied to whatever shows up in front of them. That isn't confidence, that's dependency. And as long as you are reacting, you are not leading. Think about it. The person who reacts is always one step behind. They allow the world to dictate their mood, their energy, and their decisions. But the person who leads does something different. They set the tone. They choose the direction. They don't wait to see what happens before acting. They create what happens. That is the difference between being a follower of circumstances and being the leader of your own life. Here's the hard truth. When you react to everything, people quickly learn how to control you. They discover your buttons and press them at will. They know which words make you angry, which actions make you defensive, and which silences make you insecure. But when you stop reacting, when you remain calm, centered, and steady, those same people lose their grip. They can't manipulate you anymore. That's when confidence starts to look dangerous because you become untouchable. Leading doesn't always mean leading other people. It begins with leading yourself. It means choosing your actions instead of letting them be chosen for you. It means setting the pace instead of constantly trying to keep up. It means asking a different question, not "How should I respond to this?" but "What do I want to create here?" Let's make this practical. Imagine you're in a meeting and someone challenges your idea. The reactive person defends themselves instantly, sometimes emotionally. The leader pauses. They listen. They respond calmly and clearly. Or they choose not to respond at all and redirect the conversation toward the bigger picture. That single choice shifts the energy of the entire room. The same applies to relationships. When you live in reaction mode, your emotional state mirrors someone else's. If they're upset, you're upset. If they're calm, you're calm. But when you lead, you set the emotional tone. You stay grounded regardless of their mood. And more often than not, others begin to follow your calm instead of you following their chaos. Leadership is not about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself so completely that your presence influences everything around you. People naturally follow those who are steady, clear, and unmoved by every little wave. And you don't need a title, a role, or a spotlight to live this way. You just need discipline over yourself. So how do you shift from reacting to leading?
Start by slowing down. Don't hand the driver's seat to your emotions. Pause before you respond. Ask yourself, what outcome do I want here, and how can I create it? That single moment of awareness can completely change the direction of your life. Next, set intentions before situations happen. If you're about to walk into a stressful environment, decide in advance, I will stay calm, I will speak clearly, I will not let anyone pull me off balance. When you enter with that mindset, you lead the situation instead of reacting to it. And remember this, leading is not about proving yourself, it's about owning yourself. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to control every detail. You just need control over you. That calm, centered authority is magnetic. People feel it. They start looking to you without you ever asking. Dangerous confidence is born when you stop giving the world permission to dictate your actions. When you stop reacting to everything and start leading with intention, you rise above the noise. You stop playing defense and start directing the game. And once that shift happens, you're no longer at the mercy of life. Life adjusts to you.
Chapter 6. Training in Discomfort. Embrace discomfort until it feels normal. Confidence is not built in comfort, it is forged in the uncomfortable places most people try to avoid. Think about the moments that truly made you stronger. They were never the easy ones. They were the moments when you felt nervous, unprepared, maybe even afraid, and you stepped forward anyway. That is where growth lives. That is where dangerous confidence is born. Most people spend their lives running from discomfort. They choose what feels safe, familiar, and predictable. But the cost of that choice is high. If you always choose comfort, you never expand. You stay the same, you play small, and deep down you know it. That's why so many people feel insecure. Their lives have never shown them proof of their own strength. Confidence is not about telling yourself you're strong. It's about placing yourself in situations that prove it. When you embrace discomfort, you gather evidence. Every time you step into the unknown, every time you do something that scares you just a little, you walk away with proof, I can handle this. And the more proof you collect, the more unshakable you become. Here's the truth most people miss. Discomfort never disappears. Life will always test you. But you can train yourself to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. That is the shift. Instead of seeing discomfort as danger, you begin to see it as training. Instead of running from it, you lean into it. And over time, what once terrified you starts to feel normal. Think about the first time you did something new. Speaking in front of people, starting a project, walking into a room full of strangers. It probably felt intense, but if you repeated it, the fear faded. Why? Because repetition rewires the brain. What once felt impossible becomes routine. So start small. Step into situations that stretch you just beyond your comfort zone. Speak up when you would normally stay quiet. Start a conversation you'd usually avoid. Accept a challenge you'd normally decline. Each small step expands your capacity. Then raise the level. Set goals that scare you, not because you might fail, but because they will force you to grow. The gym teaches this perfectly. If you only lift what's easy, nothing changes. Growth happens under resistance, when your muscles strain, when your body shakes. Life works the same way. Your mental and emotional strength only grows under pressure. And here's what happens when you embrace discomfort consistently. You stop fearing failure because you've survived it before. You stop avoiding challenges because you've proven you can rise through them. You stop doubting yourself because you have evidence that you can endure what others avoid. That is the root of confidence, not words, but experience.
So the next time fear appears, pause and reframe it. Instead of saying, "I don't want to feel this," say, "This is where I get stronger." That shift changes everything. Discomfort stops being the enemy. It becomes your greatest teacher. Dangerous confidence isn't built by living an easy life. It's built by living a life that stretches you, challenges you, and reminds you of your own power. Embrace discomfort, seek it, live in it until it feels normal, because once you do, nothing the world throws at you will feel too big. You'll have trained yourself to thrive where others retreat, and that quiet, steady power, the kind that cannot be broken, will become impossible to ignore.
Chapter 7. Speak Less. Command. Notice something about truly powerful people. They are rarely the loudest. They don't rush to fill silence. They don't talk just to be noticed. They wait. They observe. And when they speak, people listen. That is not coincidence. That is confidence. Most people talk too much because silence makes them uncomfortable. They fear being ignored or forgotten, so they explain too much, justify too much, and speak without purpose. But the more you speak without intention, the less weight your words carry. Confidence is not about volume, it is about presence. Few words spoken with clarity carry more authority than endless noise. Silence builds anticipation. Restraint creates respect. Slow down your responses. Pause before answering. That pause alone signals control. Trim unnecessary explanations. Short, clear statements communicate strength. And learn this: listening is more powerful than speaking. Confident people listen to understand, not to reply. They gather information, read energy, and then respond with precision. When you speak less, others reveal more. They expose insecurities, intentions, and motives. You remain calm, observant, and grounded. That is quiet dominance. This doesn't mean becoming silent. It means speaking only when it matters. Let your presence do the talking. When you master this balance, people lean in. They respect your words because you don't waste them. Dangerous confidence doesn't shout, it commands through calm.
Chapter 8. Turn rejection into power. Rejection. Just hearing the word makes most people uncomfortable. No one enjoys being told no. No one likes being overlooked, ignored, or pushed aside. Rejection hits the ego directly. It makes you question yourself. But here's where most people get it wrong. Rejection is not weakness unless you decide to treat it that way. The truth is, rejection is one of the most powerful tools for building real confidence, if you learn how to use it. The difference between people who collapse under rejection and those who rise from it comes down to perspective. Most people take rejection personally. They hear no and immediately think, "I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. I should quit." They attach rejection to their identity instead of seeing it for what it truly is: feedback, redirection, a test designed to sharpen them, not shrink them. Look at history. The most confident and successful people were rejected repeatedly. Writers had their books turned down dozens of times before becoming bestsellers. Entrepreneurs had their ideas laughed at before building massive companies. Athletes were cut from teams before becoming legends. Rejection didn't destroy them, it hardened them. It forced them to refine their skills, toughen their mindset, and deepen their hunger. You must train yourself to see rejection the same way. Rejection is not the end of your path, it is the sharpening stone of your confidence. Every no you face is an opportunity to become more resilient, more disciplined, more dangerous in your certainty. The question is not, why me? The question is, what can this teach me? Did it reveal a weakness you need to strengthen? Did it push you toward a better direction? Did it expose people or places that were never meant for you? Rejection stings because it touches pride. It makes you feel exposed, but that sting is exactly what gives it power. It wakes you up. It forces you to grow thicker skin. You cannot build real confidence in a world where everyone always says yes to you. That kind of confidence is fragile. It shatters the first time life pushes back. Dangerous confidence is built by being rejected and standing tall anyway. So don't run from rejection. Expect it. Welcome it. Rejection is proof that you are stretching yourself. If you are never being told no, you are not aiming high enough. You are not taking real risks. You are not stepping into growth. Detach rejection from your worth. A no to your idea is not a no to your value. A rejection of your effort is not a rejection of who you are. It is simply information. And when you learn to separate the two, rejection loses its power to crush you. Then, use rejection as fuel. Let it ignite you, not to prove anything to others, but to prove something to yourself. Think of rejection like weight in the gym. Every rep makes you stronger if you keep lifting. Every closed door pushes you closer to the right one. Every person who turns you down clears space for the people who truly value you. Rejection does not define you, it refines you. And the moment no stops scaring you, you become unstoppable. That person can be you.
Chapter 9. Detach from outcomes. One of the strongest moves you will ever make in life is learning to detach from outcomes. Most people tie their entire sense of worth to results. When things go well, they feel confident. When things fall apart, they feel broken. Their emotions rise and fall with whatever happens next because their identity is chained to outcomes. But real confidence, dangerous confidence, is built when you detach from results and anchor yourself in who you are, not what happens. Think about how many times you held yourself back because you were afraid it wouldn't work out. You didn't apply because you feared rejection. You didn't speak up because you worried about judgment. You didn't take the risk because failure felt too heavy. That is attachment to outcome, and it keeps you paralyzed. When you detach, everything changes. You stop obsessing over whether people will like it, approve of it, or applaud it. You give your full effort and release control over the result. That is where freedom lives. That is where a level of confidence emerges that most people never experience. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you stop trying. It means you stop tying your identity to the result. You focus only on what you can control, your effort, your preparation, your attitude, and you let the rest go. The outcome becomes feedback, not definition. Look at an athlete. They train for months knowing they cannot control the referee, the weather, or the opponent. All they can control is how prepared they are and how focused they remain. If the scoreboard doesn't go their way, their self-worth does not collapse. They rise again. That is detachment. When you detach from outcomes, you become harder to manipulate. People cannot control you with rewards. They cannot threaten you with loss. You are free, because your value is no longer tied to winning or losing, approval or rejection. Here's a powerful truth. The more you cling to a specific outcome, the weaker and more anxious you feel. But the moment you say, "Whatever happens, I'll be okay," strength enters your body. You act with more calm, more clarity, more confidence, and often that is when you perform at your best. Practice this by changing your language. Instead of saying, "I have to win," say, "I will give my best and learn from the result." Instead of saying, "They need to like me," say, "I will show up as myself." Shift your focus from results to process. Build habits, build discipline, build standards. When your confidence comes from consistency, outcomes lose their power over you. And remind yourself of this: you have survived every bad outcome in your life so far. Every failure, every disappointment, every rejection. You are still here, stronger, sharper, wiser. That is proof you do not need perfect results to be okay. Dangerous confidence does not come from controlling outcomes. It comes from controlling yourself and trusting that whatever happens, you will adapt, grow, and keep moving forward. When you let go of the result, you step into a new kind of freedom, the kind of confidence that nothing and no one can shake. Chapter 10. Set boundaries without apology. Confidence is not measured only by how you appear in public or how boldly you speak in front of others. True confidence is revealed in private moments, in the quiet decisions you make when no one is watching. It shows in how you protect your time, your energy, and your inner peace. One of the clearest and strongest signs of real confidence is the ability to set boundaries and hold them firmly, without apology, without guilt, and without hesitation. Boundaries are not walls meant to shut people out. They are clear lines that define what you will and will not tolerate. They exist to protect your focus, your self-respect, and your emotional well-being. Without boundaries, your life becomes open territory, and the world will take advantage of that openness without hesitation. This is not because people are always malicious, but because human nature naturally pushes against limits. Where there are no limits, pressure increases. Here is the hard truth most people avoid. People will always take as much as you allow. If you offer unlimited access to your time, it will be consumed. If you tolerate interruptions, they will become routine. If you never say no, yes will be expected from you forever. Over time, this leads to exhaustion, resentment, and a deep sense of powerlessness. Confidence begins the moment you recognize your value, and when you recognize your value, you protect it without explaining yourself. A confident person does not waste energy on things that do not matter. They do not allow toxic individuals to drain their spirit. They do not keep agreeing when their inner voice is clearly saying no. Saying no is not selfish. It is an act of self-respect. It is proof that you value your peace more than temporary approval. Think back to the moments when you said yes simply to avoid discomfort, the plans you didn't want to attend, the responsibilities you accepted even though you were already overwhelmed, the conversations you tolerated that made you feel smaller. Each time you allowed that, your confidence weakened, not because of what others did, but because of what you permitted. Confidence grows the moment you decide, this is where I draw the line. You do not need to justify your boundaries. Over-explaining is a habit of insecurity. A calm, clear response is enough. That doesn't work for me. I'm not available. I've decided not to do that. Short, steady, unapologetic. That is strength. At first, boundaries will feel uncomfortable. Guilt may appear. You may fear being misunderstood or disliked. But over time, something powerful happens. People begin to respect you more. They recognize that you are not easily manipulated, not desperate for validation, and not willing to trade your peace for approval. Those who truly care about you will honor your boundaries. Those who become angry by them reveal exactly why the boundary was necessary. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away. It is about protecting your space so you can give your best energy to what truly matters. Pay attention to resentment. Resentment is a signal. It tells you where a boundary is missing. Identify it, define it,
and force it calmly. Confidence is not about pleasing everyone. It is about living in alignment with yourself. And integrity means protecting what matters, even when others do not understand. Dangerous confidence is the ability to say no without shaking, to stand firm without guilt, to protect your energy as the valuable resource it is. Master this, and you will realize that real confidence is built not only by what you accept, but by what you refuse to tolerate.
Chapter 11. Stand calm in chaos. Confidence is not truly revealed when life is easy. Anyone can appear composed when plans are working and everything feels predictable. The real test of confidence arrives in moments of chaos, when pressure rises, emotions flare, and uncertainty fills the room. That is when confidence either collapses or reveals its true strength. Most people unravel in chaos. They rush, panic, and overreact. Their emotions take control, clouding their judgment and leading to poor decisions. Desperation replaces clarity. But the individuals who command respect without effort respond differently. They remain calm. They slow down while others speed up. They breathe while others hold their breath. Their voice stays steady while the world grows louder. That calm is rare, and because it is rare, it is powerful. Think about how you feel around someone who remains composed in stressful situations. You feel safer, more grounded, more confident that things will be handled. Even when solutions are not yet clear, their presence reassures you. This is the power of calm authority, and it can be trained. Chaos itself does not break people. Their reaction to it does. Events may be intense, unpredictable, or overwhelming, but your response determines whether you fall apart or rise above. When you allow yourself to be consumed by the storm, you lose control. When you anchor yourself in calm, you reclaim it. The first anchor is your breath. In moments of chaos, your body instinctively tenses and prepares for survival. Your breathing becomes shallow and rushed. This is where control begins. Slow, deliberate breathing sends a clear message to your nervous system. I am not in danger. I am in command. That single act creates space between the situation and your response. Next, control your pace. Chaos creates urgency, but urgency often produces mistakes. The confident individual moves with intention. They do not hurry to appear busy. Their steady pace communicates strength, clarity, and control. People notice this instantly. Then, manage your voice. Chaos feeds on noise. If you meet panic with panic, you amplify the disorder. But when you speak calmly, slowly, and with grounded certainty, people listen. Even without all the answers, your tone establishes trust. Calm leadership is felt before it is understood. Standing calm in chaos does not mean denying reality. It means refusing to be ruled by it. It means maintaining your center while everything around you tries to pull you off balance. And when you do this consistently, people begin to see you differently, as reliable, as strong, as someone others naturally follow. But the greatest benefit is internal. Each time you remain calm under pressure, you prove your strength to yourself. You remind yourself that storms do not destroy you, they reveal you. That realization builds a confidence that cannot be shaken by circumstances. So when chaos arrives, and it will, pause, breathe, slow your movements, ground yourself. Decide that you will not add to the noise. You will be the calm presence in the room.
Because real confidence does not scream, it does not panic, it does not collapse. It stands steady, grounded, and unshaken, no matter how violent the storm becomes. And once you master this, nothing in the world can truly control you.
Chapter 12. Train until skill becomes certainty. Confidence is not magic. It does not appear overnight, and it is not created by repeating affirmations in front of a mirror. Real, lasting confidence is built on something far more solid and undeniable: competence. When you know, deep in your bones, that you have done the work, trained consistently, and sharpened your ability, doubt loses its grip. You stop hoping you are good enough and start knowing you are. That shift from uncertainty to certainty is where dangerous confidence is born. Think about anything you have ever truly learned: driving a car, speaking in public, mastering a skill at work. In the beginning, there was fear, hesitation, overthinking every move, but repetition changed everything. What once felt overwhelming slowly became familiar, and one day, without realizing it, you stopped being afraid. You trusted yourself. That is the power of training. Repetition turns fear into familiarity, and familiarity turns into confidence. Most people want confidence without earning it. They want certainty before they act. But confidence does not come first. Action does. You act while uncertain. You practice while uncomfortable. And through repetition, belief is forged. Skill builds belief. Every hour you train, every mistake you survive, every time you show up despite resistance, confidence is carved deeper into you. But here's the difference maker. Practice alone is not enough. Intention matters. Half effort produces half confidence. Going through the motions creates illusion, not mastery. Real confidence is built when you push beyond what feels easy, when you stretch your limits, when you train longer and harder than comfort allows. When you know you have prepared more than most people ever will, you walk differently, you speak differently, you carry yourself with quiet authority. Look at elite performers. They do not question themselves under pressure because they have already lived the pressure in training. Their body knows what to do. Their mind trusts the process. That certainty cannot be shaken by opinions or doubt. Apply this principle to your own life, your career, your communication, your emotional control. Train deliberately. Identify where doubt lives, then attack it with repetition. Study, practice, fail, repeat. Do not quit when it feels uncomfortable. That discomfort is proof you're growing. Mistakes are not enemies, they are teachers. Confidence is not the absence of mistakes, it is the refusal to let them define you. Measure your progress. Look back and notice how what once intimidated you now feels normal. That realization changes you permanently. No one can take away what you have trained for. Praise fades, approval disappears, but skill remains, and skill creates certainty. Train until you no longer say, "I think I can." You say, "I know I can." That is real confidence, steady, earned, and unshakable.
Conclusion. Confidence is not about being louder than the world. It is not about forcing attention, chasing approval, or pretending to be fearless. Real confidence is calm. It is steady. It is the presence of someone who knows their worth without needing validation. The most dangerous form of confidence, the kind this audiobook has been guiding you toward, comes from one truth. When you react to nothing, nothing controls you. When you master that, you move through life untouchable, grounded, and free. Over these chapters, you have walked through the foundations of unshakable self-belief, Not surface-level confidence, not borrowed motivation, but the kind of inner certainty that does not collapse under pressure. You learned how to stop explaining yourself to people who were never entitled to explanations. You learned how to take control of your inner voice instead of letting it sabotage you. You learned that respect is not begged for, it is built through how you move, speak, and decide. And you learned how to kill the desperate need for approval that quietly drains most people of their power. You discovered the strength of silence, how saying less often communicates more. You learned that your body speaks before your words ever do, and that authority is felt long before it is announced. You shifted from reacting emotionally to leading deliberately. You were reminded that discomfort is not a warning sign, it is a doorway to growth. That rejection is not a verdict, it is fuel. That every no can harden you instead of breaking you. You saw the power of detaching from outcomes, so fear no longer controls your actions. You learned how to set boundaries without apology and protect your energy like the valuable resource it is. You learned how to stand calm when chaos erupts, becoming the steady presence others instinctively trust. You trained your mind to understand that repetition builds certainty, and that skill earned through discipline creates confidence no opinion can shake. And finally, you reached the highest level of confidence, living as if you need nothing, because nothing external defines you. This journey was never about perfection, it was about progress, about choosing day by day to build yourself into someone who does not bend to every opinion, who does not shrink under pressure, who does not wait for permission to step into their own strength. Someone who moves with intention, someone who stands firm when others fold. True confidence is quiet, but it is undeniable. It does not announce itself because it does not need to. It is written in the way you walk into a room, in the way you listen, in the way you respond instead of react. It shows up when life gets loud and you remain steady, when things go wrong and you stay grounded, when others panic and you breathe. So do not let these lessons stay theoretical. Live them. Use them in conversations. Apply them when you're tested. Carry them into moments when doubt tries to creep back in. This is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming the strongest version of who you already are. Because when you learn to react to nothing, you take control of everything. You become untouchable. You become calm in a world addicted to noise. You become a presence that cannot be ignored, not because you demand attention, but because your energy commands it. That is dangerous confidence, and it has been inside you the entire time, waiting to be claimed. Now, go out and live it.